Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever sat down in a tattoo artist's chair or walked into a piercing studio, you've probably felt that certain mystique around the whole experience. But today, we're going to completely demystify body art pain. We're throwing out the internet folklore and those tall tales of pure endurance, and instead, we're looking squarely at the biology and clinical physics of what literally happens when the mechanical force of a needle meets skin. So let's just dive right into the one question literally every body art fan asks. Why is it that some people can sit there scrolling on their phone or reading a book during a tattoo, while others are in agonizing white-knuckle survival mode for the exact same size piece? Well, today we're shattering the illusion that pain is just a test of mental toughness. Because, as it turns out, your experience has way less to do with your psychology and almost everything to do with your anatomy.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll be looking at 1. Pain is information. 2. The wiring of the skin. 3. Passing through tissue. 4. The bone conduction effect. 5. Abnormal danger signals. And finally, 6. Anatomy over psychology. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, pain is information. Let's establish a foundational rule right out of the gate. Pain isn't just some random punishment. Every single time a needle enters the skin, it triggers a totally predictable mechanism. Enter your nociceptors. These are essentially the fundamental wiring of your skin. They're free nerve endings sitting right there in your dermis, and their whole job, their only job, is to detect mechanical damage, extreme temperatures, or chemical irritants and immediately fire off a signal directly to your spinal cord and brain. This is why moving a needle just 2 centimeters can change absolutely everything. Pain is just a measurable physiological response to mechanical damage.
Moving on to Section 2, the wiring of the skin.
Here's the kicker. We are not wired evenly, not even close. Your body actually prioritizes certain areas for protection. For instance, the trigeminal nerve covering your face, lips, and scalp, and the pudendal nerve down in the genitals, well, they have nociceptor densities that are orders of magnitude higher than other spots. Meanwhile, the outer deltoid of your arm and the lateral calf, they have some of the lowest. So when a needle passes through one of those high-density zones, it fires a massive volley of signals per square millimeter. That's exactly why a lip or genital piercing feels super sharp and intense, while an outer arm pierce is often just described as kind of an annoying vibration. When you actually map all this anatomy out, you get a highly predictable spectrum of procedural pain. Just think about the sternum, for example. It's got a moderate high nociceptor density, plus very thin skin over bone, which equals intense sharpness with zero cushion. Now compare that to the outer upper arm, where the pain is super low. Having this framework is a total game changer. Clients who understand this anatomical baseline aren't choosing their placements blindly. They know exactly what mechanical processes they're signing up for.
All right, Section 3, passing through tissue.
Skin thickness is really only a fraction of the story. Even though it ranges from 0.5 millimeter on the eyelid to over 4 millimeters on your upper back, the actual makeup of the tissue matters incredibly. If we contrast a standard skin piercing with a cartilage piercing, it reveals a massive difference. Cartilage itself is avascular and aneural. In plain English, that means it literally has no blood vessels and no nerve fibers inside the cartilage body at all. So you're probably wondering, if there are no nerves in there, why on earth do ear piercings hurt? Well, it's all because of the perichondrium. That's the thin, highly innervated connective tissue sheath wrapping around the cartilage. It completely changes the sensation profile. And this specific anatomy creates what's known as a double spike pain pattern. Think of it in 3 steps. Step 1, a quick, sharp pain entering the front perichondrium. Step 2, just a dull pressure as the needle glides through that nerve-free cartilage. And step 3, another sharp spike as it exits the back. People often call it pressure with sharp bookends. It isn't random at all. It's entirely normal anatomical feedback telling you precisely where the needle is in the tissue at that exact moment. Which brings us to Section 4, the bone conduction effect. Now, this is exactly where clinical physics enters the chat. A tattoo machine operates as a kinetic, vibrating mechanical engine. If you're tattooing over a thick muscle like the deltoid, that muscle acts as an acoustic dampener. It basically absorbs the mechanical energy. But if you're getting a rib tattoo, that super thin skin sits right on top of the bone. And bones are excellent conductors of vibration and resonance. That wave transmission goes directly into the periosteum, which is this incredibly sensitive innervated membrane covering your bones. That is the pure physics of why a rib piece feels intensely sharp and stinging, while an arm piece just feels like a dull buzz. Shifting gears now to Section 5, Abnormal Danger Signals. Knowing what normal feels like is absolutely your best tool for recognizing what isn't normal. There are 3 specific abnormal pain patterns you really need to be aware of. First up, radiating pain. If contact with a needle produces pain shooting down your arm or across your face, that means a nerve trunk was hit. That requires an immediate stop. Second, escalating pain. Pain is supposed to decrease after the procedure. If it's increasing hours later, chemical mediators from an inflammatory response are sensitizing your nociceptors, which is a massive red flag for infection. And third, asymmetric pain. If you get both earlobes pierced and days later one side hurts dramatically more than the other, that's your anatomy explicitly warning you about an infection, an embedded piece of jewelry, or a severe material reaction. You've got to listen to those alarms. And finally, Section 6, Anatomy over Psychology. When people try to mentally manage pain, they often turn to internet hacks or chemical shortcuts. But here is the hard reality about numbing creams. Topical lidocaine only offers about a 30 to 50% maximum reduction in surface pain for tattoos. It absolutely does not eliminate it. And for piercings, they're even less effective because the needle just swiftly passes through deeper tissue beneath the dermis where the cream literally hasn't reached. Looking at 25 years of industry data, a wildly clear pattern emerges. The clients who have the best experiences aren't the ones just gritting their teeth and trying to tough it out. They're the ones who actually have a framework for what they're going to feel. Ultimately, procedural pain that makes logical, anatomical sense is just far easier for your brain to process than pain that feels random, chaotic, or totally unexpected. Honestly, deflecting the pain conversation by telling someone, oh, it's just a pinch, is a total disservice. It all boils down to this: anatomy dominates psychology. A rib tattoo on someone with a notoriously low pain tolerance is almost always going to register as more painful than an outer arm tattoo on a seasoned, tough veteran. You simply can't outthink nociceptor density. You cannot meditate away the clinical physics of wave transmission and bone conduction. At the end of the day, the anatomy is the boss. The ultimate goal of body art isn't to magically avoid pain entirely. I mean, that simply isn't possible when needles are passing through living tissue. The goal is to understand it. Armed with this biological and physical framework, we hope you leave this explainer ready to make highly informed decisions for your next piece, grounded in real objective science. So before you book that next appointment, I leave you with this. Are you ready to really listen to the incredible, complex information your body is giving you?